Hey guys, James here from TCGU University, coming back at you with another profile. Today I'm going to be showing you Tam's Botan deck. So, let's get into it. Okay guys, Botan is a 6/25 with Death, Order, and Void. She has two abilities. E, your turn. Your opponent discards one random card and draws one card. This ability is constantly just annoying to your opponent. Makes your opponent feel real bad when you snipe their good card and not the bad card. Just a whole bunch of bad feels. Then R, twice per turn, after your attack deals damage, gain 2 vitality, and your opponent loses 1 vitality. That's basically what our deck's built around. Is slightly more the burn side than the discard side. There is some discard in our deck for that style, but we're mainly playing a burn deck. So like burn, baby, burn. So let's get into it. Starting with the burn, we're playing for Greek Fire. Greek Fire is a 2/5 with a 2 mid-block unique. E, your turn, remove. Your opponent loses 2 vitality. You may add 1 copy of this card from your hand to your staging area. And then R, commit. After your opponent plays a form of or responsibility on a non-character card, cancel its effects, only playable if your opponent has lost vitality due to a card effect this turn. This card's super cool. You always look to replace itself, and it has the ability to negate things. It's like an onboard revoke as long as you have Botan, which is super easy to get to, especially with the deck we're playing. Next, we're playing 1 Maeus. This just allows us to see more cards from our discard pile. It's a 1/5 with a no block. First form, shuffle up to 3 cards from your discard pile to your deck so we can see them again. And then E, commit. Your opponent chooses 1 attack in your discard pile. This attack gains all copies of that chosen card's enhances printed on that card. So you basically choose one. You shuffle everything back in your deck, so your opponent's forced to choose one thing, and then you use that one thing more efficiently. Just kind of neat. On to some of the attacks. The deck's basically built around Cassaday, Leviathan, and its burn. We're trying to gain momentum by having our opponent not want to block. We're trying to burn our opponent as much as possible and gaining vitality and burning them to death or discarding their hand with this is just super good with that. It's a 5/3 with that's a 7 high for 5 with a 1 high block. E, discard momentum, destroy one of your opponent's foundations. Your opponent may discard 1 card or lose 2 vitality to cancel its effects. So either they burn 2, they discard 1 card from their hand, or we're going to destroy 1 foundation we don't want them in their staging area. So a lot of the times when it gets played against me, I always choose to either just burn it or take the damage or discard the card, because I always want to keep my foundations, because at the beginning of your turn you always draw more cards anyway, so like you never have to worry about that. But if they're just going to kill you with this, you kind of have to figure out what you're going to do with that. Then E, if your opponent is at deadlock or desperation, add the top 2 cards of your deck to your momentum, just basically to fuel itself. Being able to just auto-destroy your opponent's staging area if they have no options is super neat. Then to fuel that a little bit more, we're playing 4 Protecting Yukina. It's a 1/4 with a 1 mid-block. We're mainly playing it for its bottom ability. E, destroy, add the top card of your deck to your momentum. It also has a useful response as its first ability, which is R, discard momentum. After your opponent after you block with this card, the block attack deals no damage. This is very good, both defensively, but mainly the being able to just get snap momentum for our Leviathan is super good. Next, we're playing 4 Homing Missiles. Homing Missiles is a very old card, but is a very good staple for a very long time for fire decks. It's a 4/3 with a 2 mid block, 3 mid for 4. First, E, destroy one of your opponent's foundations. Your opponent may lose 3 vitality to cancel it. The 3 vitality is what we're aiming for our opponent to do anyways. If they let us destroy a foundation, kudos for us. We get to pick something we don't like and destroy it. Limit the amount of cards they have. But mainly we want our opponent to pay that 3 and kind of fuel what our deck's trying to do. And with it not being super strong or super quick, your opponent is also in this mid-range of do I block and have to commit out and he plays something else, or do I just face tank and give him momentum for that Leviathan we are going to play later. Next, we're going into more of the discard engine styled things. We'll finish off with this one other one that burns, I guess, before we do that, since that was at the back of the pile. 2 Napalm Bomb. It's a stun 2, 5/3 with a 4 low. That's a 4 low for 5. E, your opponent loses 2 vitality. Your opponent may discard 1 card to cancel. So this is just straight burn, and then if not, you discard, which kind of just fuels what we're doing with our deck anyways for the other half. Just strong card. Being a 4 low makes it harder to block. 5 damage. It's super cool. Just no block makes it hard to keep in your hand. So onto the discard part. We're playing 4 Mop Strike. It's a 4/3, 4 high for 4 with a 1 mid block. E, discard momentum. Your opponent discard 1 random card from their hand, and then both players will draw 1. So basically, you discard 1 to make your opponent shuffle a card. Like you force your opponent to get rid of 1 random card, which is just crazy. Just random is crazy. That's why I like Botan. She's just very underwhelming sometimes. And then E, if your opponent has discarded a card this turn, draw a card. So basically, you get to draw 2 cards off of this card. Sure, you discard 1 card, but you get rid of a card you don't want to try and draw 2 other cards. Super cool. And then like you get to draw, you make your opponent discard again, which is also very good. And then the other card we're playing, the discard works with another card we're playing that works off our discard, is Or Strike. It's a 5/2, 4 low for 7 with a 0 mid block. Has taunt, best keyword ever. E, discard X card, draw X cards. X equals the number of cards your opponent has discarded this turn. Deadlock E, your opponent discards 3 cards, which is also very nuts. Never get to deadlock with this in the game, if your opponent has it. This just basically says we get to funnel more cards into our hand and have better turns, or being a 4 for 7 is just nothing to laugh at either. And then the last card, last attack we're playing, right? Yeah, the last attack we're playing is Bash Strike. It's a 4/3, 3 low for 4 with a 1 low block that says E, this attack deals damage, your opponent loses X vitality. X equals the number of cards they discarded this turn. So we kind of funnel our opponent to discard and then burn them some more with Bash Strike. So it kind of does best of both worlds for our stuff, because it works off of our discard and burns our opponent. On to more of the support cards. 4, Pilot of the River Styx. 3/5, 3 high block. Each ability on this card is only playable if your opponent has discarded a card this turn. Botan easily gets out of the way. And then R, discard after your attack does damage, your opponent loses 2 vitality. It's like a Hunt for Spider, sort of. And then R, remove after non-character response ability is played, cancel its effects as well. This card works really well with making sure your opponent takes the damage. So every time your opponent hits, you get to hit them for just a little bit more. And like I said, we're trying to burn, so it works out. 2, Seeking Allies. It's a 2/5 with a 3 mid block. E, commit. If this attack deals damage, both players will lose 2 vitality. Sure, we lose as well, but again, we're trying to burn our opponent out. E, commit. Discard 1 card. Discard the top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 foundation discard this way to your hand. It's a decent ability that doesn't see a lot of play. Decent card that doesn't see a lot of play. Mainly because there's just other cards that you want instead. But being able to pick up foundations that you may need to use for blocks is really cool. 2, Lonely. Lonely kind of prevents stun. It's a 2/5 with a no block that says R, after your opponent plays an ability that commits 1 or more of your foundations, they lose a vitality. So they play stun, and then you make them lose 1, and then like you just commit Lonely, or if you know they're going to try and stun you some more, leave it up. Kind of just depends on like what you want to do. Then we're playing 3, Diplomatic. It's a 1/4 with a 3 mid block. E, commit. This attack is +1 speed. Never going to see that ability played. And then R, check a 5. After any number of cards, leave your opponent's card pool. Due to their effect, they lose 2 vitality. It's just more burn, making sure our opponent knows that they have to go through our burn if they want to live. If they want to kill us, they have to work through our burn and know they're going to have to take that damage. Next, we're playing 4, Voice of Reason. This is the last card that kind of directly interacts. There's one more that slightly does, but this is the last one that directly interacts with our game plan. It's a 0/5 with a 2 mid block. E, once per turn, both players discard 1 card and draw 1 card. This lets us funnel through our deck, and it adds to the total for Botan's discard for things like Or Strike and Bash Strike. On to other cards defensively. We're playing 3, Revoke. Revoke just cancels things, lets you build easier on turn 1. It's a 0/5 with a no block that just... Getting to just like cancel something that you don't want to have to deal with is nuts. 1, Spell Circle. It's a 3/5 with a no block that says we get to discard 1 card from our opponent's hand if this is in our hand. If not, we can also add to our momentum if we want to do things with momentum. 1, Acheron and Nirvana. It's a 2/5 with a 2 mid block. We mainly use it for the R commit. After your opponent plays a keyword ability, we get to cancel it. Things like Stun, things like Powerful, EX. Just cancel it all. Gauge, get out of here. Multiple, nope. Then E, once per turn, we can ready 1 foundation has not been readied. Just extend our turn a little bit. On on to Face of Monster. Face of Monster was, I forgot about, Spellstroke, I didn't see it, was the other card I was talking about that does slightly some of our stuff. But that's only at Deadlock, because Deadlock form, your opponent discards one card. It's a 2/5 with a 2 high block. It has that Deadlock ability. The Desperation ability is we can change the zone of this attack to any other zone. And then R, after an attack is played, it gets -1 speed. You can pay 1 life to make it give it -1 more speed, to make it a -2 speed. Has a nice 2 high block. All of its abilities are only playable once, but after you play them, they're good enough to not need to play again. And you can just commit it to do cool things. It's a really good card, really good staple. 3, Outworld Xeris. It's a 2/5 with a 2 low block. E, remove, lose X Vitality. Add 1 asset or foundation from your opponent's staging area to their hand. X equals the difficulty of the card's printed difficulty. Just kind of says we get to get rid of problem cards. Sometimes you don't want to deal with things, and getting rid of it is the best option. 2, Telekinetic Mastery, TK Mastery. It's a 2/5 with a 3 mid block. We mainly play it for the R, check a 6. After your opponent increases the speed or damage of their attack, that attack gets -2 or -2 speed or -2 damage. Kind of just mitigates kind of like how much damage our opponent can really do to us. And we're at 25 health, so extending that a little bit is kind of nice. 1, Fates Intervene. It's a 2/5 with a no block. E, commit. If this attack is blocked, it deals no damage. Your opponent may discard 1 card to cancel. Kind of works with Botan, iffy sometimes. And then R, flip. After your opponent plays a non-character ability that would flip 1 or more of your foundations, cancel its effects, and flip 1 of your opponent's foundations. Kind of prevents our opponent from flipping our stuff. On to 3, Conquest of Terror. It's a 1/5 with a 2 low block. E, commit. If your opponent is at Desperation, this attack gets +2 or -4 speed. And then E, flip. This attack gets -2 speed. It's decent speed hate. Has a nice 2 low block. It's a spam. Just useful all around. 2, Profane Sanctuary. It's a 0/5 with a 3 high block. E, you can discard the top 2 cards of both players' decks. Kind of funnel through that. And it has the ability to R, flip, cancel a breaker. Cancel our opponent's breaker. Just kind of protects us a little bit. And then the last card, the most important card for our deck, Water Freezes. I say this is important, but it's mainly important for like a meta choice wise. It's a 2/5 with a 3 low block. Form Commit. Cards cannot leave your staging area due to your opponent's effects for the rest of this turn. Your next flash attack gets safe for the rest of the, your next flash attack gets safe for the rest of the turn. That part never really matters. We mainly need it because one of the main cards in the game right now in the meta is Purifier. And Purifier says if it's discarded due to our opponent's effect, they get to choose 2 of our foundations and put them into our card pool. And this card just shuts that down. We don't want our opponent to try and get advantage or shut down our turn just because we want to play our game plan. Thanks again for checking out the profile, guys. If you liked Tam's Botan deck, let them know down below in the comments. If you want to support us, go to patreon.com/TCGU University. Make sure to like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel. And as always, guys, stay learned.